Recall our key thesis. The enormity of sex trafficking is driven by the ability to generate immense profits at almost no real risk. The most effective way to attack profitability is to elevate real risk. In the book, I call this an inversion of the risk-reward economics of the global sex trafficking industry, and I describe 7 tactics that I believe will accomplish this goal. These tactics must be designed and deployed by a new brand of global abolitionist coalition that I outline, which must possess sufficient unity, expertise, resources, and transnational cooperation to wage a more effective assault on the global sex trafficking industry. To institute these tactics and abolish slavery, far more resources are required, and far greater risk must be introduced into the system. To draw an analogy to the war on drugs, the U.S. government spends 300 times more money per year to fight drug trafficking than it does to fight human trafficking. And the economic penalties for trafficking in cocaine, for example, are 20 times greater than the economic penalties against slavery. The analogy ends there because a war on slavery is a war I believe we can win. If someone like me is able to track down slaves and confront their exploiters, then more aggressive interventions and elevated resources can surely bring an end to these grotesque crimes. Slavery is a stain on humankind that must be buried alongside our ugliest demons. I hope you will join me, and I would like to end with one more narrative shared with me by a young girl I call Sushila in a shelter in Kathmandu called Shakti Samua, and it's the first shelter in Asia that was founded by former victims of sex trafficking. When I was young, I helped my father work in a rice mill. The owners of the mill had a 20-year-old son who came to my room every night and raped me. I was only 11 years old, so the pain was terrible. My father did not believe me when I told him. Eventually, I could not take it anymore, and I ran away. By evening, I sat in front of a shop, and a woman approached me and said I could work in her hotel. A few days later, she took me on a bus and gave me ice cream. I fell asleep. I do not remember anything after that. When I woke up, I was in another house of a Nepali woman. She took me to a bungalow in Mumbai. There were hundreds of girls in this bungalow. I did not want to go inside, but I was beaten and locked in a room. That evening, the gharwali, the house manager or madam, came to my room and said I was sold for 40,000 rupees, about $890. She said I had to do sex work to pay this money back. I told her I had already been raped and I could not bear to be with men. I thought no one had touched you, she shouted. I paid the virgin price. She burned me with cigarettes and beat me with a wooden ladle. I was black and blue and my entire back was bruised. I cried the entire night. The next day, another prostitute told me if I wanted to eat, I should start to work. I told her I would rather starve. After 4 days, another woman from the Mahato caste tried to convince me. I still refused. After 1 week, a Japanese man came. They made an arrangement for me with this man for 60,000 rupees. They told him I was a virgin. The Japanese man stayed with me for 2 weeks. I was forced to be with him, even though the pain was unbearable. 4 days after the Japanese man left, another customer came. I was still bleeding, so the man went to the gharwali and shouted, "Why did you send me to a woman having her period?" The gharwali asked me if I was having my period, but I told her it was from the wounds in my vagina. The malik, the brothel boss, called the doctor and he stitched my wounds. I was given rest for 3 days, then I was forced to be with customers. My stitches opened and I started to bleed again. This process happened 12 times. I do not know how many years I was in Kamathipura. I used to be with 25 customers a day. If we felt we would faint from the pain, the gharwali gave us medicine. We had to keep making sex with customers no matter what. When the Indian police conducted a raid in January 1996, they found me. After the rescue, I was kept in a shelter for 7 months. The Nepalese government would not allow us to return. They said, "The prostitutes are a reservoir of AIDS from India who will spread the disease in Nepal." With the help of NGOs, we were finally allowed to return to Nepal. They flew all of us back on 2 planes. The people in Nepal came to the airport and spat on us. They said they would contract AIDS just by touching us. I was lucky not to have AIDS, though I had other sexually transmitted diseases. I am still on medication.